everyone, and welcome to Radio FCCIB. I am Rim Jalali, the Executive Director of the French Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Bahrain. Our guest for this episode is Mr. Jürgen de Wit, Chief Executive Officer of Al Ezel Power Company and Al Dour Power and Water Company in Bahrain. Thank you very much, Mr. de Wit, for being with us.
Yes, good morning, Mrs. Rim, and thank you for this kind invitation. Yeah, very pleased to be here.
Thank you. Jürgen, can you tell us in a few words about the company and its activity in Bahrain?
Yes, so basically we are talking about two companies. First of all, Al Ezel Power Company owns a 950 megawatt gas-fired power plant, which is located in the Hid area. Started commercial operation in 2007, based on a 20-year contract with the Electricity and Water Authority in Bahrain. Al Ezel represents roughly 20% of the electrical power production in Bahrain. Then we have Al Dour Power and Water Company, owns a 1,230 megawatt gas-fired power plant in Al Dour, and also a 48 MIGD, which is 220 million liters of water per day, of reversed osmosis desalination capacity, which is located in Al Dour. Al Dour started commercial operation in 2012. Based on a 25-year contract with EWA. Al Dour represents 25% of the power capacity in Bahrain and 29% of the water capacity. So this is in a nutshell the two companies in charge here.
Thank you, Jürgen, for the introduction. My first question is, what were the major impacts of the COVID-19 crisis on your company, on your sector of activity, and what are the lessons learned?
Yes, so the company implemented a number of measures to ensure our business continuity. So first of all, we started with working in split crew, and also adding some personal protection equipment to all our employees. Then we decided to lock down our ops team on site with a 7-day rotation scheme in which they don't see the colleagues which are replacing them every 5 or every 7 days. Then we decided to double the storage of chemicals on site, so that we are sure that we have for more than 1 month of chemicals, so that there is no interruption of our production. We also moved our subcontractors from the labor camps to private apartments, so that we avoid any risk of spreading from that side. So fortunately, our bottom line will not be materially impacted. Now, looking at the sector, two things we can see there. First of all, on the water side, we see that there was a very, and there is still a very high load factor on our plant. And this is related to this public lockdown situation. Apparently, people in the lockdown, they consume a lot more water than in previous years. So which is putting a serious stress on the water capacity. For the power plants, what we see is also a relatively high load factor, but nothing as unusual as for the water. On the other side, it may be that new plants, which are currently under construction, they may come a little bit later. They may face some delays, which is related to this COVID-19 situation. Again, fortunately, we are able to continue to deliver the essentials of life to Bahrain, which is water and electricity. Now, coming back to the main lessons learned. First of all, as we are doing now, we see that video conferencing and file sharing platforms, such as Microsoft Teams, are very efficient collaboration tools. So probably also going forward, we will continue to use these platforms more and more. There is also what I can see with my colleagues is that there is an increased focus on health as our main asset in life. Now, a third thing that we learned from this crisis situation is that the word unlikely has let's say, more or less gotten a new meaning. It doesn't seem to exist anymore. And also our risk management philosophy will and has been adapted, and also looking beyond existing limits of our previous risk management exercise. Now, again, fortunately, we've been able to improvise, adapt, and overcome, like they teach the US Marines.
Okay. Did your company play a role along with the government regarding the financial aid put in place?
So we have seen, and we are very grateful for the strong support that the Bahraini government has extended to the private sector. Looking at Al Azel and Al Dur, we have shown our gratitude for this government support by sponsoring more than 200,000 Bahraini dinar to this Fina Fair campaign, which was launched by the authorities a couple of months ago. We have also gone far out of our way to support the government and to maintain stability on the electrical grid and on the public water system. So in that way, we try to contribute to the aid in general.
In conclusion, Jürgen, how do you see the future for the electricity sector in Bahrain and more widely in the region?
So first of all, looking at the near future. So as I mentioned earlier, we see a new plant coming online partially this year, and then going forward also to the next year, and in 2022 coming into final commercial operation. We also see a recent development of a 100 megawatt solar PV project in Bahrain, which is also quite remarkable. But from our perspective, and personally, I believe that the implementation of energy solutions to reduce the consumption of electrical power is a very important element, which plays already a role and will play an increasing role in the foreseeable future. We also see an increased, and as we see from other parts of the world, we see an increased private and decentralized generation, such as small-scale solar PV. We also see wind in Bahrain, and we see some waste-to-energy project under discussion for the moment as well. Now, all this, we see that for the medium term, renewable energy obviously will play an important role. However, in Bahrain specifically, conventional power will remain important, and the simple reason that Bahrain doesn't have enough square meters, doesn't have the land capacity to install all these solar PV and wind projects, unless we go offshore, which is also an option, but still this is another topic. Now, looking at the region, in the region we see that we already have a connection with Saudi Arabia, electrical power connection, which is relatively small in capacity. So we believe that this grid connection, and like we have in Europe, for example, we call this the copper plate. I see that something like this will come more and more to the region here as well. So that, for example, this nuclear capacity, which is developing in the UAE, and also these massive renewable projects, solar PV projects that we see in Saudi Arabia and in the UAE, will also be able to deliver power across the region and, for example, hopefully to Bahrain as well. So yeah, that is for the region.
Well, thank you very much, Jürgen, for your insight and again for being with us today.
You're most welcome, Mrs. Rim, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you.